Hi, this is Vallisa from Lyca Radio, and today we are going to be speaking to Farhana. Now, she has written an amazing book called Not Now Noor. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, it's very obvious you are wearing a hijab, and the book is to do with wearing a hijab. Can you tell us a little bit about the hijab and what it is?
Yeah, so a hijab is it's more than a headscarf. I think there's a big assumption that it's just a headscarf, but it represents a lot more than that. It's something that is asked of Muslim women to wear, but also for Muslim men to observe. And it's just to cover. It means to be modest. It's in your actions, it's in your intentions, it's in how you behave. And I think that's the most important message with hijab. That it's something that it's not just for women, as most people assume, that a headscarf is just a symbol of what it is in Islam.
And why do you wear a hijab?
I wear a hijab because I think for me, it's about how I represent myself and how I conduct myself. And I'm proud to be a Muslim, and it's part of my identity. And ultimately, in Islam, it's asked of women to wear it, and I wear it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God told us to wear it. But it was my choice. It was a choice that I made, and it's a choice I'm happy with.
I'm going to go slightly off topic here
Go
because I
on.
didn't tell you about this question.
Uh-huh.
So I DJ at a lot of
Yeah.
female-only events, especially Muslim events.
Yeah.
And obviously, I understand that they wear the headscarf when men are around.
Yeah.
As soon as the men leave, a lot of the women do take off their headscarves
Yeah.
before they start dancing. Can you explain why that is?
Because hijab isn't meant to be worn all the time. It's meant to be worn around men who are not your what we call mahram. So they're not your uncle, your brother, your father, your grandparents. And it's to just observe that modesty. So I know that when I go home and I'm just in front of my husband and my father-in-law, that I will take it off, and it's not seen as something I should wear. And it's just to protect your modesty more than anything.
And coming to your book, Not Now Noor, what inspired you to write this book?
Not Now Noor is a conversation between myself and the children I've taught over the last 9-10 years. I grew up in Newcastle, and Newcastle is a predominantly white area, and a lot of the children in the classes that I've worked in have never seen, let alone a Muslim or a hijabi, someone who is not white. And every single part of that story is something they've either said to me or has been an unfiltered conversation or a joke that they've made just out of curiosity. And that's what inspired Not Now Noor. And that's why I thought it was really important to kind of lay it out there, because a lot of children will be thinking the same thing. I think as we get older, we start to get a bit scared and we don't ask because we fear offending people. Children don't have that. And I love that. And that's what inspired me to write it.
And also, I feel like as you grow older and you start watching more TV channels and you learn a lot about cultures, whereas when you're a child, you're so innocent, you just don't know. Like they look at it and they don't have a clue why you're wearing it.
And it's lovely that they just have the confidence to ask, and they're right to ask, so they should, and we should be able to answer. It's as simple as that, really.
Definitely. And what was it like growing up wearing a hijab?
So I didn't actually start wearing hijab until I was about 18, 19. And initially I was terrified because of what's in the media and how at the time I think Muslim women were represented in the media. But for me, I had a very good circle of friends. I actually wore it when I started university. So I was moving away from school and I had a new group of friends, and it wasn't as intimidating because no one had known me before hijab. So to me, it was a lot easier to do that. I think if I lived in an area that was more diverse, it would have been easier. But I think it definitely built me to be a stronger person.
I was about to ask you, in which area did you go to university?
I went to Newcastle, so
you went to
Northumbria,
Newcastle, okay.
Newcastle University.
Because
yeah.
I feel at university, people come from all over. So say you had grown up in London, it would have been very different for you because of the culture here.
The diversity,
compared to, say, up north, where there isn't predominantly a lot of people that wear hijabs, like you
Even
said.
in my course, I was the only one. I was the only one. I think there was one other ethnic minority in my course, and that was it. And it was the norm for us. Yeah.
And do you feel it's important for children to learn about other faiths, not just about sort of Muslim faith, but in general about other faiths, so that they can be more acceptable to people of those faiths?
I think there's a big thing about tolerance, but I don't think it's about tolerance. I think it's about acceptance and celebrating. And when it comes down to it, no matter what you cocoon your children with, they will come across so many different people from different walks of life, and they will always find something in common with those people. And I think just any life skill, any moral skill, is to teach them that you'll find something in common with them, you have something that is the same as them, and our differences aren't going to tear us apart.
Yeah, and Not Now Noor actually is a funny and warm book, which I really like. I saw the book and it's aimed at kids, which is important, and it's about a young girl who questions why her family are wearing a hijab, the women in her family are wearing a hijab, and she actually relates to some of it as, is it to hide snacks? Which I thought was quite cute. And why did you feel it was important to do this in a funny way rather than in a more informative way?
I think there are a lot of stories out there, not necessarily in mainstream publishing, that are informative. And when it becomes informative, you've got to think about the audience. Is it child friendly? I'm a teacher as well. So because I've worked in a primary school most of my career, I know what wording works with children and how to get them engaged. And picture books are for everybody. I don't think they're just for children. And I think for Not Now Noor, it had to have that humour, it had to have that friendliness, so it doesn't seem overwhelming or intimidating. And I think sometimes it is meant to inform, and sometimes information text can be quite intimidating for children. And when it has that added humour, a child can see their vision of it, they can value it, they can see themselves being Noor, the main character. And that's what I wanted. And I wanted Noor to be a Muslim girl who, just to show that she can be a Muslim and still not understand it. I thought that was really important as well.
And I think it's quite nice to do it in this way, because then children can actually understand it, rather than if you do it in an informative way, they're kind of confused by the end of it. They're not actually sure what information they were supposed to take from that. But this seems to sit in their heads a lot more. They can look at the pictures and remember the pictures through.
And it opens a conversation more than anything. And I think that's the most important part of it to whoever's reading Not Now Noor. It opens a dialogue. And there's a lot of information out there that can help a lot of families and a lot of schools in terms of educating children and adults. I think that's important as well. It's not just for children, it's for adults as well.
And I think also what's quite important is that Muslim parents can use this as an example to their children to try and explain why you would wear a headscarf or why they are wearing a headscarf.
That's it. I think it definitely opens the door for that conversation. And I think I've had a few mums and dads get in touch saying that it was really nice for their child to have something that they could picture their parent on, or their auntie or their sister. And I thought that was quite a warm thing as well.
Definitely. And the illustration was done by Nabila Adani, and she's done a fantastic job with the illustration. Did you have any input on how you wanted that book to look?
Yes, Nabila has done an amazing job. In fact, I think a lot of her illustrations were first drafts. So she had exactly what I wanted. I was in a fortunate position where I did have a say and I could make some tweaks. And but the credit goes to Nabila. Amazing job. And she done that just by the words. She used the words and she was able to create these characters, which was fantastic. It's a talent.
So definitely everyone needs to go and check out the book Not Now Noor, so they can see what we're talking about. Now, Ramadan is actually currently being observed. And can you tell us a little bit about Ramadan?
Yeah, so Ramadan is a month in the holy calendar, and it's 29 to 30 days of fasting between sunrise and sunset. And it's ordained on a lot of Muslims, not those who are pregnant, ill, elderly, children, for healthy Muslims. And it's just their chance to get closer to God. It's for everyone. I think there's a misconception that it's to understand what it feels like to be hungry and to be poor, but it's also ordained upon the poor people to fast as well. But it's just to get closer to God and use it as an opportunity to reflect on life as well.
So this time next year, can we see a book about Ramadan, maybe Noor's?
Well, keep your eyes peeled. You never know what might come around the corner.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Ramadan Mubarak.
Oh,
and Eid Mubarak in advance, actually.
In advance, Eid Mubarak. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.